Hi, my name is Julia, and I'm 15 years old. Today, I'm going to tell you the story of how I caught a kleptomaniac, and later how she became my best friend. It sounds like a story, right? But it really happened to me. This is how it all began. It was the start of the new school year, and I was the new girl in class. So predictably, everyone was a bit distanced from me. After all, the new kid is seldom welcome at the beginning. One of the girls in my class, Nancy, was particularly nasty towards me. It was as if she had some personal grudge against me, though we had never even met before. From the very first day, she started to call me names like Ratface and Big Head and incited the rest of the class against me as well. I was really upset. Every day I would come home in tears, and my mother and father would be really worried about why I was upset. But I didn't want to bother with them about my school problems, so I made up my mind not to tell them anything and handle it myself. And then, one day, it all began. Aaron, one of our classmates, had brought a gold-plated pen to class. He said it was a family heirloom, something that belonged to his great-great-great-grandfather. I wonder how great he was. Anyway, he bragged about how he had inherited the pen from his uncle and now was going to script the next blockbuster movie with this beauty. We all thought he was a bit crazy. After lunch, when we returned for the next class, Aaron suddenly gave a shout and started to scream. We all gathered around him asking him what the matter was. Between sobs, he told us that his pen was missing. He was scared that his father would be mad that he had lost an heirloom and was scared to tell the teachers for fear of being scolded for bringing such an important thing to class. We consoled him somehow and later searched everywhere, but the pen never turned up. But my troubles were only beginning. Such a thing had never happened in this school before, and as I was the only new kid in class, the students all suspected me. I was afraid that soon they would all turn against me, and my worst fears were realized sooner than I had expected. One day, I reached class to find that Nancy was inciting the rest of the class against me. She wanted to prove that I was the thief. The moment I entered, the conspirators all stopped and pretended not to notice me, but I knew what they were up to. And I decided that offense was the best defense. I would conduct my own investigation and would catch the real thief soon enough. I had read a lot of detective novels and was confident I could catch the thief. Meanwhile, stuff began to disappear from all over the school. Notebooks vanished, handkerchiefs were lost, and even lockers were cleaned out. The surveillance footage, too, was not of any help. It was up to me to do the needful. I had noticed that this thief was actually a pretty strange one. He didn't target anything specific, and most of the stuff he had stolen was actually pretty cheap. Aaron's gold-plated pen was actually a fake, we later got to know. So why was he doing this? Surely he wasn't profiting by this, right? But who could it be? Wait for a second. Was it a he or a she? Many students in our class had fallen prey to this school burglar. Even I had lost a watch. Nancy, my arch enemy, was all for burning me at the stake for the crimes. But since she had no proof, she could do nothing. Then one day, purely by accident, I noticed something. As I was taking out my books from my locker one day, I saw Nancy working at her own locker. Suddenly, I thought I noticed a glint of gold in her locker, but she must have caught me staring because she quickly closed the door and walked away. But I had got my clue. What if that was the gold of Aaron's pen? I looked back over the turn of events and deduced that Nancy was the only one in our class who hadn't lost anything to this mysterious thief. I decided to keep a watch on her, and soon my patience bore fruits. One day, after school, I saw Nancy steal a broom from the janitor's closet and hide it in the bathroom. I made a video of the whole episode and was furious. Was she doing all this to frame me? I decided to confront her. But once I did, she actually broke down in tears and confessed to everything. She said that she was a kleptomaniac, a person who has to compulsively steal items from everywhere they can. She had developed this condition only recently and was having a hard time controlling herself. She implored me not to tell anyone, and I was actually sad for her. To be not able to control one's own self must be terrible. Indeed, I convinced her to talk to her parents about her condition. I even offered to be there to lend some moral support. Now Nancy is undergoing required treatment for her disorder, and we're actually best friends. I never told anyone about this, but on one condition that Nancy secretly returns the items she stole. She's doing that one thing at a time now. What do you think? Was I right to help the poor girl, or should I have exacted my revenge? Let me know what you think in the comments below, and we can share our thoughts on this. When you have any mental problems like Nancy's disorders, please talk to someone who can help, like your parents or your friends.